Hey, look at that. I'm already live. And that was pretty cool. And hey, I'm here doing a podcast sort of situation. And, hopefully some of you people join in. As you join in, hit the like button, share it out, all that kind of stuff. I would really appreciate it. I have some interesting new graphical stuff going on since obviously. We're starting MNC. Plus, I was able to actually kind of talk about MNC tomorrow, which we're going to be back with a new producer. We've got some new graphics, new art, stuff like that. Top 10. It's going to be really good stuff, and I'm very excited about it. And, just in general, just kind of wanted to touch base on some things because I see a lot of stuff going around. Basically, people kind of saying, Microsoft isn't going to keep exclusives on Xbox because Phil Spencer came out and said, he wants Game Pass on everything. So people kind of lose their minds over that. And I thought that was a little bit ridiculous. I saw a lot of interesting, takes on it and things like that. Surely Microsoft wants to make as much money as they can. But the interesting part about all this is the fact that even if Microsoft wanted Game Pass on PlayStation, the fact of the matter is, I don't think that that's something that would actually happen for the simple fact that PlayStation has, their own things that they're doing. So as far as I can tell, Sony wouldn't even allow EA access. They don't even allow crossplay, save it for, one game that's in beta. People acted like because they allowed that one game, the biggest game in the world right now, to do crossplay, that meant that they were going to allow that for every game. And that's clearly not the case. So I thought that it was kind of funny that people actually believe that, and kind of wanted to touch base with some of the fans and just in general say, look, Microsoft does the Xbox Play Anywhere thing. Whether you're a fan of that or not, I'm not really a fan of it. I don't think it really serves any purpose. It certainly doesn't really serve a purpose for, for what Microsoft is trying to do. You know what I mean? But in the larger scope of things, it sure does help things out, I guess, like just what they're doing, being able to sort of go out there and offer gamers choices. And that's what they're trying to do. Because if you look at what got them in trouble at the beginning of this generation, it was not giving people a choice. You just look at it, man, $500 for a less powerful console with a Kinect forced on you, whether you like Kinect or not, that's irrelevant. The fact that they didn't give you an option, I think that's the part that hurt a lot of people. And, they also tried to push a lot of things that people weren't ready for, including like the check-in and things like that. Now, you fast forward 5 years, people are a little bit more accepting of this stuff, a little bit more ready of this stuff. And I think that's where, Microsoft kind of had to learn their lesson a bit, which is it's okay to kind of push the industry, but you also have to wait and kind of pay attention to where people are and whether or not they're actually ready for that kind of thing. So I do think that Microsoft has done a lot right since that time, since the original idea of the Xbox One. But they could do a lot more down the road to improve things even more so. You know what I mean? And I think that that's something that a lot of people are looking for. Now, Phil, very strategic guy, right? Says what he means what he says. That's what I get from Phil. He doesn't really say things without having some kind of reason behind it. And the fact of the matter is, they want, when he pitched these ideas to the CEO of Microsoft, obviously, even look at Windows, right? That's something nobody would ever thought Windows would be on Apple, or, you know what I'm saying? And now this stuff, they work together, and, and I think that's the idea. The difference is Sony is so old school with what they allow and what they do, right? So what point would there be in them allowing Game Pass on a PlayStation 4? There's no point. So even if Microsoft was adamant and wanted Game Pass on PlayStation, I don't think that's something that we actually would see, nor do I think it's something that Sony would actually allow. Hey, what's up, everybody in the chat? What do I think? I don't know what the name of the next Xbox is going to be just yet, unfortunately. I'm sure that I'll probably hear some stuff eventually, but I don't. Please hit that like button if you guys wouldn't mind, because I would appreciate that as well. Definitely means a lot to me when you guys, check out the content and stuff like that. So just make sure you do that and share it out, all that kind of good stuff. But anyway, so yeah, I saw a lot of people sort of freaking out about this, and I just didn't really understand it. Now, listen, am I 100% on board with everything Microsoft is doing? No. Do I care about the Play Anywhere stuff? No, I just don't think that that stuff's relevant. Like, it's not that, it's easy to say, oh, well, do you care? Because there was that one time with the whole Quantum Break thing. No, I don't care about the stuff being on Windows or PC or whatever, because that doesn't really affect me. But I do think that you should take certain liberties for your console crowd, right? Like, that's one of the places where I think Microsoft can definitely improve upon, which is, treat your console buyers, your console fans, your console owners with some respect, and and give them some special perks to being a console owner. Because I feel like a lot of us, most of us anyway, a lot of the people that I know, a lot of you guys, a lot of the people that watch, the fans and stuff like that, we're all people that we bought the original Xbox One for $500. Many of us, like me, bought an S for what was it, like $399, uh, and then we bought an X for $499. So most of us here spent at least $1,500 on Xboxes, and even if you only bought an original Xbox and then a Scorpio, you still spent quite a bit of money, and you should be entitled to some things. So that's where I get a little bit upset as a fan, and I don't. This isn't really a negative video. I'm just expressing my frustration a little bit too, because I see the Game Awards, and I saw that Nintendo had an Ultimate Alliance game exclusive to them, and I saw that Spider-Man was exclusive to PlayStation, and you do scratch your head a little bit and go, well, why isn't Microsoft trying to do a little bit of something like that for us? And I think that's exactly what a lot of Xbox fans are a little bit frustrated with, and kind of wanted it. What do I think about the Game Awards? Do I think I gave God of War 10 out of 10? I said it was one of the best games I'd ever played. So certainly you couldn't have went wrong with either one of those games. You knew that one of them was going to get it. You can't really go wrong with either one of those. So I think that they did a really good job with that, and I just think that it's, I like the show. They stepped it up. They did a really great job compared to the previous years, and I'm very happy with what they were able to accomplish. So yeah, props to Jeff and the gang for actually actually being able to do a good job and go out there and get that stuff done, because Microsoft hasn't always had a good showing there, and the fact that they had Phil there and everybody there, I thought that was pretty cool, although a little bit pandery or whatever, but still I thought it was a really good thing. And seeing Microsoft kind of step out there and do a good job, I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, I definitely thought that God of War deserved it. I thought it was really that was a really great game, probably one of my favorite games that I played. So very cool to see that. And I was just happy overall that the award show seemed to really do a good job. Now, kind of getting back on topic or whatever, because there's going to be people that troll. You know what I mean? There's going to be people that troll, and they're going to go, oh, well, all these PlayStation game or all these Xbox exclusives are going to go to PlayStation. Phil never said that. And the fact that people try to push it as some kind of narrative that, hey, Phil's saying this or Phil's saying that, I always kind of look at that as being a little bit silly, to be honest with you. He never said that. He talks about devices and then specifically brings up Android. And so to me personally, that's sort of what I looked at. I looked at, okay, well, he's really talking about Android here, and that's what he's talking about, and that's what he means when he talks about any device, because he talks about there being a billion Android phones out there, right? So he's talking about growing gaming. Like right now, you think about it, no matter how many consoles Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo sells, there's always going to be this group of people that can't game that way. And so I think that's where some of this stuff comes from. And I think that's where, that's where we can start to see some of the growth. And he wants to see gaming grow. And I applaud that. I think that's pretty cool. I personally don't care about a lot of the stuff and a lot of the ways that they care about growing it. You know what I mean? Like the cloud streaming stuff has no bearing whatsoever on me. I really honestly could not care less about that. When it comes to even crossplay, man, I don't even really care about crossplay. I mean, I think it's cool and probably should be there for people as long as it's fair. Like the part that annoys me about crossplay is when they don't allow you to actually be able to, stop the ability to crossplay, right? So when you look at Sea of Thieves, one of the reasons why I stopped playing it early on was because people from the PC were coming over and they were using cheats and things like that. And that we had no way to stop that. So that was kind of unfortunate, and I thought that was a little bit unnecessary. And I wish that they would have kind of stopped that. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I feel like Microsoft has a vision and have an idea. If you look at how scattered they were over the last couple of years, with no real strategy, no real vision, aside from don't step on any eggshells. You know what I mean? They're walking around on eggshells because every single site out there is looking for a reason to hate on Xbox. And I always felt like that was unfortunate. Like Microsoft can't really do anything without having like constant scrutiny on them, right? And some of that's warranted, right? Like I get it, you know, like even lately they dropped Groove Music. They're dropping the Edge browser. They do tend to sort of chase trends and then drop that when it doesn't perform as expected. You know, the phone things, like I like the Windows Phone, and yet they dropped it. You know, you still had, no matter how many people are on you know, iPhones or you know, Android phones, there were millions of people on Windows phones and they just dropped it. So you never know with them. But you know, I applaud Phil for being able to go out there, and what he did was he made the CEO of Microsoft a believer. And I think that's something that he should really get a lot of credit for. Microsoft clearly had lost faith, and you know, they weren't really spending money. You know, if you just look at the games that they were putting out, right? They canceled anything that called. Like, here's the thing. So supposedly the Phantom Dust game, remember that? Because that was actually announced. It was a Phantom Dust remake. Supposedly that was only going to cost $5 million, which, I mean, to us that's a lot of money, but to a developer, they're like, okay, well, it's going to cost $5 million to make this game. That's nothing. That is like nothing. There's indie games with that, but I mean, they raised more than that for Shenmue 3 on Kickstarter. So you know, and this is Microsoft we're talking about. So you really know how bad things were in terms of not being able to do that. Jay Blaze says PS5 fanboys always exaggerating. Yeah, you know, and even I thought some Xbox fans did that too. You know, Xbox fans tend to fan the flames a little bit with that stuff. So Xbox has no games. He says Xbox has no games. Well, I disagree with that, man. I have like 800. So, you know, I think that that's a little bit of a fallacy. Now, if you want to say, you can't even say I don't really have any exclusives, because there's tons of games on there that you can't play on other consoles. So you have to remember that as well. So I think that Xbox does have plenty of games, and, you know, Microsoft, they're really just kind of, you know, doing their own thing. You know, just they're doing a little bit differently. A lot of people look at what Microsoft does and they see that Sony isn't doing exactly what they're doing, and so they kind of freak out on them. You know, like I said, would I love to see some kind of new announcements from Microsoft, a tease, something? Absolutely. I'm a frustrated guy too with that stuff, right? Like, we haven't had a new IP announcement in 3 years. Think about that, right? This console generation is only 5 years old, and we haven't had a new IP announcement in 3 years. That is insane to me, right? So I get the people that kind of look at Microsoft in a negative light, as it were. You know what I mean? At sometimes, do I think that they deserve all the hate? No, but definitely some of this criticism, I think that they do deserve that, and I do think that you know, Microsoft, even Phil said they need to do better. They can do better, and I believe that wholeheartedly. But a good idea about what I'm talking about, right? So there was this Polygon article called "The Outer Worlds Isn't a Microsoft Game, Even Though It's by an Obsidian." So it goes on to talk about the new trailer for Obsidian's The Outer Worlds, which I thought looked like a really good game as well. There was some social media pause. Wait a minute, wondered people, did Microsoft buy these guys just last month? And so they wondered the same thing. And so they asked the game's co-director, who was also creator of the Fallout franchise, about it during an interview. And this is what he had to say. He said, Microsoft came and looked at a bunch of different stuff we were doing in this game. The Outer Worlds was one of them. We were mostly we've been exclusively been working with Private Division on this. Private Division, if you didn't know, is an independent label under Take-Two, which, so they do a number of different unusual projects, like the Kerbal Space Program, and they do things like that. So sort of a private thing from Take-Two. But anyway, effectively, Microsoft got to see an early preview of the Outer Worlds before it was unveiled to the world, but the people at Take-Two got there first, and if the game does well, they're the ones who will get paid. The acquisition really hasn't been part of what we're doing at all on Outer Worlds, he said. We've just been working on the game with great folks over at Private Division. None of that is going to change. Reading between the lines, however, the team at Obsidian has to be incredibly busy right now. They're currently working to port Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire, which was funding on a sort of like a crowdfunding platform. So they're porting that to PlayStation 4, the Nintendo Switch, and the Xbox One. And there's a year-long journey to get Outer Worlds out the door. And there has to be at least one other project being developed behind closed doors. And it must be something that Microsoft has to get that really got Microsoft excited enough to purchase the studio that's actually currently working on 2 other projects for people other than them. So if you think about it, according to this, Obsidian's working on 3 games. Outer Worlds, they're working on Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire, getting that ported to various platforms. Outer Worlds still has to ship, and that's going to be on various platforms. And then a secret project, which in theory would sounds like it would be an Xbox exclusive or console exclusive. Jay Blaze says, "Why are you in the chat if you don't have games?" Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Hey, hit that like button, guys. I would really appreciate that. It means a lot to me if you guys would do that. I definitely do appreciate it and all the support and stuff like that. You guys are pretty rocking. But yeah, so anyway, like I'm one of the people that scratch my head at I really like Obsidian, right? I think they do good stuff, and I'm really, like KOTOR 2 was my jam. I like that a lot, and I think they're very capable. I'm not a big fan of the isometric style games, to be honest with you. So to see a situation where they're making a big open RPG that looks better than the recent Fallouts, and it looks like kind of a cross between Borderlands and Fallout, I really like that. And I do wish that, part of me wishes, wouldn't that be a big thing if that was exclusive to Xbox next year, right? Or console exclusive, whatever. I mean, don't get caught up in words. If I say exclusive and you're one of those people that are like, it's not, it's on PC too, crap. Well, guess what? Whatever, man. Console exclusive, whatever floats your boat, man. Ain't nobody trying to start an argument here. I'm just saying, console exclusive, whatever. You got to play it on a Microsoft platform. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter to them. But if part of me thinks, because they bought like this team and In Exile, and In Exile has a couple different games that are going to be on like PlayStation 4 next year as well. So like you scratch your head a bit at that. They must see something with these teams, right? I get the whole Game Pass thing. You need some AA stuff in there, and so that's probably where In Exile is going to kind of go. But as an Xbox fan and been one, I've owned, like I said, I've bought 3 different Xbox Ones this generation, an S, and X, and the original. Over like $1,500 worth of console hardware, and for the last 3 years, we haven't gotten a single exclusive announcement. So that does bum me out. They do play things very close to the chest. That kind of bums me out as a fan too, because you see stuff like Nintendo even. They announced that Metroid and everything. Like, I get that they don't announce things too far out, but there's got to be stuff that there's got to be stuff in the pot somewhere, right? That they can show off and get people excited about, give you people a little bit of an excitement, right? Like, I get it because I have a good time with my Xbox One X, man. I love it, and I spend 99% of my gaming on it. But wouldn't I love something to take full advantage of that? Maybe some realistic style graphics and things like that that's not on PlayStation or Nintendo. Absolutely, and I totally get that. And I think that that's something that the fans want. And I got to say that I'm 100% behind you, and I'm not turning on Xbox. I'm not mad at Xbox. If you guys that are fans don't understand that, what I'm talking about is just basically wanting them to be a little bit more open with the fans. Like, they're open with so many things, right? Like, they're very kind of open and go, hey, we're really trying to be transparent. Here's the S console. And we're going to come out with the X next year, right? Like, I like that. I think that that's pretty cool when they do that. Now, the part that I have trouble with is the fact that they're so closed off about everything else, right? That's a bit of a bummer for me. And I think that what Microsoft really has to do is give people a reason to get excited about the platform that are console owners, right? So when I see articles about, oh, Microsoft's really killing it with the Xbox lately, right? But hey, I'm a PC gamer, so I play on PC, but wow, that Xbox, huh? Like, you scratch your head a little bit too, because there is that situation where that Minecraft dungeon crawler game was announced for PC exclusively. There's that Gears PC exclusive game. And they do stuff like that that really just kind of make you shake your head as an Xbox fan too, because that was at a time when Xbox fans were so hard up for games. We're just like looking around like that John Travolta gif, like what the heck is going on here? And we weren't getting any games, and so I get it. And it does look like they're fundamentally changing some things though. Like there's not going to be a Forza Motorsport next year. So a lot of people are like, hey, we don't need one of those every 2 years or whatever. And so it looks like we're going to have to wait another year. It looks like they're lining up all their ducks for the launch of, like for the launch of let's say a next Xbox, right? Like I think that's what they're going for. And that makes sense. And and I understand that, but at some point, if you're really quote unquote ending generations and stuff, don't you gotta kind of start showing your hand a little bit, right? Getting people excited, getting people happy, making people understand kind of what's going on. Imagine me trying to sell you on something and then not showing you what I'm trying to sell you. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to get at here. Microsoft hasn't done a really good job, in my opinion, lately of selling people on their whole idea of the Xbox One, going forward. So I do think that is a bit unfortunate. I would love to see something from them. Look, if you're Microsoft and you really are backing it, why not go and get, why not go and get something big like Marvel related, right? There's a ton of those IPs laying around, right? Like they're not making a Captain America game. Get Captain America. You want Black Panther? Get Black Panther. I just really do think that it's kind of foolish sometimes when you see that Microsoft kind of drops the ball with some of these different situations and things like that. So I would like to see that, and I know a lot of you guys would too. I do think that Microsoft is a little bit confusing when it comes to some of their messaging. And again, I get that that's something that they really, really have to, get out there and sort of, and make something happen for the people, right? We all want to see something. I get it. I'm the biggest Xbox fan there is, in my opinion, right? I bleed green, man. I crap green. I get it. It's my favorite color. But at the same time, you got to start showing something. You got to start, giving your fans something to get excited about. And it seems like they dropped the ball a lot when it comes to that. So I would like to see them actually expand and kind of give the fans something nice, something new, something that we haven't really seen before. That's what I'd like to see, and hopefully Microsoft actually can go out there and pay attention. Because I've been kind of vocal about that. I've said it multiple times. Microsoft, even though for a company that pays as much attention as they do, they kind of don't pay attention at the same time. So that's a little bit of an interesting situation. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm back in the chat, watching the chat now. I was reading that article. Let's see. Well, here's the thing. There is no way, got a bump, that Game Pass is going to be on all consoles. For one thing, Sony doesn't even allow EA access, and you really think that what's up, TLR9? You really think that Sony is going to allow is going to allow Microsoft's product on their platform? Like, really? Dude, Tommy Jordan, I get it. When was the last time Xbox won Game of the Year? I get it. All right. I do think that we'll probably see Game Pass on, like Phil said, obviously it's going to come to PC and like Android or what have you, but I don't think it's going to be something that's going to be that's going to go to PlayStation or the Nintendo Switch. It just doesn't make sense because mostly in Game Pass is third-party games that are already on like the PS4, right? And Sony gets a bigger cut if people buy those games, on their platform. So why would Sony allow for people to be able to essentially rent these games on their platform? That's the whole reason they didn't allow EA access to begin with, So I think that that's a little bit ridiculous. And somebody who brought up the gold situation, yeah, I agree. If you're playing if you're playing a free to play game, you should definitely not have to, you know, to pay Xbox Live Gold for that. I 100% have said that like a million times. 100%. I think that is something that Microsoft should do better with and has to do better with in the future. You can't just look around and claim that you're all for the players and let's all play together and all this kind of stuff, and then have that happen. You know what I mean? So I think that that's something that Microsoft has to get better in, and I will they ever do that? I don't know. Apparently, they've made a whole ton of money off of Fortnite, which is free to play, by people having renewing their Xbox Live. So it's one of those things where some people do complain, and hey, I've even complained because if you're on PC or Windows, you can play these games online for free. And I always thought that was kind of a kick in the pants as well. I didn't understand why they get all the stuff that we get and then some. Obviously, like I said, I mentioned some games that are kind of exclusive or whatever. To the platform that are on PC only, and that's a bit underwhelming in my opinion. So yeah, I mean that pisses me off. If you're like, hey, crap, do you ever get pissed off at stuff Microsoft does? Yes, that's something that I'm pissed off about. So. And if you want to know like what drives me to still do videos after all these years and stuff like this, I mean, you could just look at different articles, like look at N4G, right? Like I'm looking at N4G right now. PUBG on PS4 is better than Xbox One at launch. That's literally an article that I'm looking at right now. Okay. That makes me scratch my head. First of all, when PUBG launched on Xbox One, it was in the preview program. So it was like already like so it was such a joke at that. You know what I mean? It's not a finished project. Allegedly now it's a finished product, but it still runs like crap on PS4 as well. So when you see stuff like that, it does make your blood boil a little bit because so many people don't even see that, like they don't see that happens, that there's all this stuff going on where the media helped push the agenda. The media really helped Sony kind of get this foothold in people's living rooms, like they're part of the reason. Like I get Microsoft screwed up big time, right? Oh, 100%. But it wouldn't have been nearly as bad if he didn't have like these media types like feeding off this fear mongering stuff, and Microsoft wants to not let you play your used games. And I think that really kind of affected people. They also pushed that 1080p stuff, right? Like, 1080p makes you a better gamer. That's not like fake stuff, man. That's legit stuff. They're like, hey, 1080p makes you a better gamer. And does it though? Does it? I mean, does 1080p really make anyone a better gamer? I kind of have my doubts to that. I don't think it does. Even the whole 4K thing makes you a better gamer. People don't get that was a joke that I made up to kind of combat the media's assertion that I that I think that whole thing is a joke, right? Even like I get a lot of crap for titles and stuff on my videos. And the funny thing is, the whole reason that I started doing that to begin with was simply put was because the mainstream media, like the legit media, was running with stuff like that. And so I was like kind of making fun of that too. So Dominic Yankee says, I wouldn't want Microsoft to show anything more than 18 months out and be the same situation Sony is, where they don't have anything new to show. Hey, you know what? I agree with you. You don't have to show 20 things right now, right? You don't have to do that. But what you can do is you can show us one thing, right? Like I think most people would agree that would be cool. Show us some things. I would love to see a situation where we saw something new. I know that Microsoft has something cooking, right? I think that Microsoft has quite a few things cooking, and I think that they have to do a better job at showing what's going on. If you guys are just joining me, please hit that like button, share it out. I would really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Just kind of reiterate what I'm talking about. So Phil Spencer the other day said, hey, we want Game Pass on everything. And, we want Game Pass on everything, and hopefully, we can, hopefully we can get that, right? And so he's like, we want it on every device. He didn't say platforms. People just assume that what he really wants is it on PlayStation. I don't see that as, hey, let's put this on PlayStation. I see that as he wants it on, phones and things like that. Like I said earlier, would they really, really, really want, um, would they really want PlayStation? Would they really want these games on their platform? I don't think they would. Like I said, they don't even allow EA access, and so for to think that they would allow to allow Xbox games and these third party games on their platform just out of the blue like that, I do not see that happening. I just just 100%. I just don't think that that's something that would ever happen. And Microsoft, at the end of the day, I think they're smart and they probably would like that to happen, but I just don't see that happening. I don't think that Microsoft will be able to kind of push that. So relax a little bit. I don't honestly, I don't think it matters for the most part. I do think that us as fans should get some things exclusively that aren't on everything else though. Let's see. Sleepy Goblin says, "Tell me what they want, what they really, really." Hey, you know what Microsoft wants, man? They want people to play their games and apparently enjoy gaming. I I don't know if that's if that's what their end goal is, but they push this whole "let's be friends" thing, right? And I get that, but at the same time, I think that it's a bit of a weird situation when people have to kind of either one beg to see something, some kind of game, right? Or two, you have to you have to beg to not have your stuff, to have some sort of reason to incentivize you to use the platform, right? So that's sort of a problem that Microsoft has going forward as well, where people are sort of lacking that incentive to stick the platform, right? So people are like, why would I buy an Xbox One or an Xbox One X? And to be honest with you, for the past few years, there's probably not very much reason to do that, right? Like taking PC out of it, even what has been there that absolutely is a must play, that you can't play on PlayStation 4. And the truth is, outside of like some Forza games, I don't know that there's a ton there to warrant that. Especially like an Xbox One X, which is like a $500 console. Now, when you start talking multiplats, I think I think you start seeing a little bit more reason right there to sort of do that. But I can totally agree and 100% do agree with people that said over the last 18 months or whatever, what is the reason to, outside of unless you're like a big multi-plat guy like me, there's probably not a whole hell of a lot of reason there to pick one up. So I think they've done a bad job of getting Xbox fans a lot of incentives and things to actually go and play the games, so that's a little bit unfortunate. But I do think that they are righting the ship, and I do like the idea. They've got all these great studios and things like that, and they're picking up more studios. I have said for a long time that they need to pick up even more studios. Reason why is because the studios that they have right now, a lot of them, just like Obsidian, they're bogged down with doing other things for the foreseeable future. So, hopefully they got some stuff going in the background, like this one article suggests with Polygon. You got to have, some stuff in the background, kind of just kicking it. Otherwise, what's the point? What's the point for the next few years anyway? Because I've said it before, and I know other people have stated it, that it seemed like Microsoft had given up a little bit on the generation, but I do think that they can kind of come back for the next gen, depending on how they decide to play it, right? I do think that it's going to be difficult to do forward compatibility if you're doing, a Zen CPU. I believe that's the problem. I believe that's why they had to use some form of the Jaguar for the X, even though that's much more powerful than the original Xbox One and the S, is because you couldn't upgrade that CPU to something that's not Jaguar, because then it's incompatible. So if the rumors are true about what's inside the Xbox Scarlet or whatever, then that Zen 2 or whatever, I don't think you're going to be able to play the stuff forward compatible there. So that might be just something that they've changed their mind on, because I remember hearing about like some of this forward compatible stuff years ago, right? And I thought that it all sounded kind of funny. It all sounded kind of funny to me. I wasn't 100% sure what was going to come from it. And now we see that Microsoft has actually done a decent job at kind of doing the backwards compatibility thing. And I think that's enough. Like the fact that you'll be able to take your controllers with you, right? Take your controllers with you. Take your accessories with you, your headsets, your wheels, your racing wheels, your fighting sticks, all that stuff. You could take all that stuff with you to the next gen. I think that's enough where you don't have to play. Now, the only problem that I see from this would be the Xbox One X stuff, right? That literally just came out in 2017. So they come out with a new console in 2020. That's only 3 years, and we paid $500 for that. But if they're different versions, maybe you could make different versions. I don't know, but I do see them supporting the X somehow. But I'm not sure exactly if they're going to do full forward compatibility. I'm not sure. Like I've heard different things. So, hopefully we can see a little bit more about what's going to happen in the future from them. And hopefully we get a better picture on what they're going to do. Cause I think that Microsoft has some good plans. And I'm excited to see what the future has in store for us as Xbox fans as well. I just want to see up where everybody's happy. I sometimes get this feeling that Microsoft goes well out of their way to do things for that don't make any sense. Like they try to do too much, right? They try to do a little bit too much at times, and I think that can be frustrating as an Xbox specific fan. They're like, hey, well, let's release this box. Now let's release this box. Now let's try a diskless one and then a cloud one. And then we're going to do this one and then another next gen one. And then let's tell people that we're going to do forward compatibility and then let's not. And then we're going to stream stuff to your watch or your cell phone or your refrigerator. I just think that sometimes can get a little bit tough on people, you know what I mean? And so I think that hopefully we can see Microsoft sort of rebound from that, and I gotta say, I am excited about what they're gonna do, but at the same time, I'm excited about what Sony's gonna do. I'm interested to see what they have to offer, just in general, man. I'm just a gaming fan, and I like seeing what's going on in terms of the future. So I know a lot of you guys are like that as well. Game of the Year, Jeff of the Year Game Awards. Dude, hey, look, I'm an Xbox fan, but I do think that God of War definitely deserved to win that. I'm just being honest. Hey, hit that like button. Maybe we can get up to 100 likes. I would really appreciate that. Xbox is the one who wants exclusives, not Sony. Like crap, I know you're a shit and like spouting bullshit about Microsoft, but everybody knows Sony won't take your exclusives. They aren't wanted. I would say that they would fear putting the exclusives on the PlayStation 4, right? That would be the thing that just like the EA Access stuff, right? Like, what does EA Access have for Sony to be worried about? But they don't allow that on there. So I do think that fear comes into play there when they don't want to. Yes, MNC is tomorrow on Mooch's channel. It's going to be a good show. We've got new graphics. We've got new everything, man. We've got a top 10 countdown, a new producer. We got some new stuff. Not the song isn't ready yet. That might be another week out, but we couldn't wait anymore, man. We were just really excited to show you guys some stuff, man. We'll show you guys some fun and things like that. And so that's exactly what we're gonna do. And I'm excited about what's gonna happen, and the future's bright for that show as well. God of War deserved it to show the industry trying something new with single player game can pay off. And well, I mean, look, Red Dead 2 equally could have won. I mean, there's any game could have, but realistically, it was going to come down to those two. They changed it up. I think it was great. Like, I like the underdog story there, especially if you look at what happened to Sony Santa Monica at the beginning of this generation. They had a game canceled. They also had, they like half their studio laid off. If you look into it even further, Sony Santa Monica was actually out there they were actually out there, possibly could have been closed down. There was rumors that they might have closed down, and they were actually helping on stuff like the Order 1886 and a game like this game called Ho Hokum. they actually helped with that as well. So yeah, they weren't in a great place. So to see them kind of come back like that, I thought that was pretty fantastic, man. I definitely like seeing that, and I think that God of War was a absolutely fantastic game. And I think that they deserve the win. I don't get where people thought that I was against God of War. I thought God of War was um, a fantastic game, just amazing from start to finish. I just thought that Red Dead Redemption 2 was as well, right? Like I wouldn't have thought that a game would have came out this same year as God of War, and and stolen that kind of narrative for me, right? Like I love that. I love both those games. I just thought they just did a fantastic job and a really good job. Props to both those studios, but I think that as far as Sony Santa Monica, they needed that a little bit more. And so props to them, man. I wasn't upset. I was extremely happy. And to see that sort of continue to evolve, I'm excited for the next one. For me, Red Dead Redemption 2 was a little bit more epic, but it's hard. Like I would give both those games 10 out of 10. I reviewed God of War and I gave it a 10 out of 10. So, yeah, both of them were great. And the thing is with Red Dead 2, I really enjoyed that game, despite the fact that the last game I wasn't a huge fan of. Like I couldn't even get into it. So the fact that I was able to get into this one, excuse me, the fact that I was able to get into this one means a lot to me, as a gamer in general. Extremely excited by that. So yeah, definitely. And I liked it. So God of War, linear button mashing, the same 3 buttons, and watching a movie. How does that win against Red Dead Redemption 2? Well, here's the thing, dude. If you look at who's picking that, right? So I think 8% or 10% was fan vote, right? And then the other 90% was industry people. So what have I been preaching? So if you guys like industry people like to see PlayStation succeed, and I'm not saying it's rigged or anything, because obviously that was a good game and deserved to go out there and win. It was hard to really pick against it. I picked Red Dead 2. I thought Red Dead 2 would beat it just because it's Rockstar, right? So hey, I get it, dude. Like Rockstar, like there's some clunky controls in Red Dead 2. I felt the controls in God of War were clunky too. Then you go in there and change them. So yeah, I think that's fine. I didn't find the controls clunky in I didn't find them clunky in Red Dead. I didn't find them once I fixed them in God of War to the traditional style. I didn't find them to be clunky on God of War either. I actually enjoyed them very much so. So yeah, hit the like button, man. We're closing in on 100 likes. I would really appreciate it. Xbox is not dying. The future looks good. Yeah, I mean, look, the future does look good. What is their future end game? I think that's something that some people might worry about or might wonder about, and I think that is something that we'll have to see. We'll have to see if that's something that Microsoft will be able to continue to sort of work out in the future. Like I'm wondering myself. I think it's going to be fun to see where things end up. Obviously, the PlayStation 4 is like this beast of a machine that this absolute beast of a machine that has really just destroyed everything. And props to them. They were able to come out with a console that that was better and cheaper, right? Like despite the fact that they didn't have anything game wise for the first few years, they came out with a console that was cheaper and better than the Xbox. And they didn't have any kind of, even though most of the games that we were playing required like these updates and these big day one patches and all this kind of stuff, people didn't care because it wasn't actually them trying to take your rights to your games and things like that. I think that is something that people had to worry about, and that is a bad situation. That's a super bad situation. I think that man, I'm not. Hey, expert dude. I'm not trying to help Xbox. Man, I do a silly little place. I do a silly little YouTube channel. Man, it's not really trying to do anything except for express my opinion on Xbox. Right? If you don't agree with it, that's 100% fine. I do my best to kind of just have fun with it and just kind of talk about some of the positive things that I like about Xbox, and also the negative, man. If they got to do better, which they do in a lot of areas, then they got to, man. That's just where it is. I think that those of you that bash Phil Spencer though, um, I I do think that um, you guys don't realize the gravity and the danger that Xbox was in. I just don't think that you guys see that. They were in a bad spot. Let's see. Phil Spencer's a gamer, not just a suit. Hey, I agree, man. He is a gamer, man. He is a gamer. Hey, you know what? Like, as long as I got some people, paying attention or whatever, I'll continue to do this stuff. I don't know if I'm gonna continue doing, you know, 3 videos a day. To be honest with you guys, I've been doing that for a couple years now. So, uh, I just feel like maybe when I might lower the amount of content that I put out. I just feel like, we're heading into the new year, and I've been doing this stuff for so long, and I'm kind of tired, honestly. So I enjoy it, and I don't want to lose my joy of doing this stuff, you guys. So some like I know that a lot of you guys, and I'm still gonna do the podcast and stuff like that. I just might back off on some, or maybe like one day out of the week I just won't do any content and still do what I do on the other 6 days. I don't know. I haven't decided 100% yet, but um, you know, I just that's just how I feel. Probably when stuff kicks back in and we start hearing about a PS5 more and a Xbox Scarlet more, and they're starting getting some leaks, and I start hearing some things, and you know, then that'll be one thing, But sometimes doing this YouTube stuff, man, it's like constantly getting punched in the head. I know you guys don't really look at it that way or don't see that, right? But just look in my comment section, look in this section here, right? Um, People just constantly attack. Like eventually that stuff gets old. Just to be 100% honest with you guys, like and I don't even mind. Like I'll sit there and I'll talk to anybody, man. If they have a different opinion of me, hey, let's talk about it. Let's talk it out. I still haven't found a PlayStation guy that wants to do a true like back and forth. You know what I mean? I would love to see that. I would love to do that. I gotta say, man, I don't even have anything against the PlayStation dudes. I just, like I said, somebody that's respectful or a little bit things like that. Yeah, over gaming, Daz, it's true, man. I don't know. I'm still gonna continue to do stuff, obviously, MNC and stuff. But it is the end of the year too. You know what I mean? It's a little bit. I'm gonna start doing, you know, I I hear some of the complaints and stuff that people sometimes with the titles and stuff. So maybe I'll chill with some of that stuff too, and just kind of reassess what I'm gonna do. And like you got to respect the audience, I think, and I think you know a fresher crap gamer would be able to do that. So new graphics. MNC is coming back tomorrow on Mooch's channel. You guys gonna check that out. I'm probably gonna cut back a little bit on the videos and stuff like that, and some of the clicky baity kind of stuff. But overall, man, I'm still gonna be doing YouTube and stuff like that. You guys have to realize, man. And I know it's like everybody thinks that you make a lot of money and stuff off this. Like it's like YouTube is super seasonal, and Google gets their cut. Yeah, the company gets their cut. It's like not as much. It's not like this big payday like a lot of people think. So realistically, I put a lot of time, my work, which a lot of people know I work with animals and dogs in particular, like rescues and stuff like that. What happens is I work, I bust my ass all day. I help animals. That's what I do. And look, I don't even mind telling a little bit of like some personal stuff, like, cause I really don't, I used to really kind of hide from that stuff, but I don't really care anymore. Right. It's like a long story short is when I first started this channel and I was all like, I'm a big Howard Stern fan, Bubba the Love Sponge. I like these shows, right? Because I listen to talk radio while I'm working. I'm working with these dogs. I've got an earpiece in. I'm listening to these talk radio shows. And I was like, I like that, right? They're kind of this thing that I'm not, which is like this outgoing kind of asshole to people, right? And I was good at doing that, right? I was good at like when people would talk trash to me, and I'd be like, hey man, I don't go down to your job at McDonald's and tell you how to flip burgers. Do I, chump? Right? Like I could do that, right? And I can do that all damn day, right? Because I can get in that zone. The problem is that can only that starts to weigh on you too, right? Like I didn't even like to be a pretend asshole, and I said some stupid things in my life on Twitter, and some of the stuff that gets passed around is faker than you know what I mean? And so everybody has an opinion about me, and I get that. A lot of people hate on me, a lot of people are jealous of me for some reason. I don't even know why. I do a stupid YouTube channel and talk video games, and I just like realistically want to have fun. But it's like some people take it so serious, where I get, there's threats a lot. Like I do get a lot of threats and things like that. Like that stuff all gets old too. You know what I mean? Like I just, you know, kind of just want to get back to having the fun that I used to have, and it's difficult to do with so much of the hate, stuff like that. So hopefully you guys understand. Like I said, once some of this news starts kicking back in, things will pick back up, and I'll be able to do that. But I'm gonna change some things. I'm gonna record some new footage and stuff like that. It'll be kind of a slow thing because it takes a while to actually be able to do that. But hopefully you guys stick with me and like the videos and share it out and stuff. And even if you can't like them all, then like some of them, because basically you guys are kind of what keeps the you keep things flowing. When there's positive feedback, it makes you want to keep doing things. You know what I mean? When it's just constant like kick in the head and punch in the head, and when you guys don't support, and I know it's tough to come to every video or every live broadcast or whatever, but sometimes a lot of people don't get this, right? Like some people send me a message and go, hey man, I love watching your show, it's really funny, or like I watch your show every day, it's great. Like I don't get that a lot. Like people are like, hey man, what's up or whatever, but I don't get, hey man, I really like your show, or I really like what you're doing. Sometimes a little nice word here and then would be pretty cool. So yeah, just keep that in mind, man. Not just for me, man. If you guys are friends with YouTubers or whatever, man, like any YouTubers, just share something nice, hit the like button, tell them, hey, it's you guys do a good job, I like the show, that kind of stuff. So I think that's that's what we all want, man. We're just trying to entertain and do something nice. It's like entertainment and fun. So I really do hope that you guys kind of like that. Oh, by the way, Phil Spencer, while I got everybody here, let me get back in my little news mode. Head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, thinks 2019 is going to be a better year for Xbox. He promises an even better 12 months for Xbox fans than 2018, which that probably shouldn't be too hard, guys, huh? I mean, if you think about it, we did get State of Decay 2, which to me is like a double A, and we got Sea of Thieves, which I love, but I know that a lot of people, and it to its credit, didn't have a lot of content, so that does suck. So we did get those two early on, and then we got Forza, which is fantastic, but I think we all think they could do better, especially when you come off the back end of last year where we didn't get much either. It was like PUBG was the biggest. Can you believe that point for Xbox One, PUBG coming to Xbox One in-game preview was like the most important thing, right? Like that to me just blows my mind. Like it's completely blows my mind that actually happened. So, it is weird, but I do think that, that they are kind of doing the right thing. And next year, to their credit, Crackdown 3, supposedly Battletoads, although we haven't seen anything from that yet, Ori 2, Gears of War, it does sound like they're going to have some pretty good stuff. And we close out the war. Like, I'm not into Ashen. Like, that game isn't my thing. But, I am looking forward to playing Below. I think that's really cool. And I am excited about that. So yeah, I know a lot of you guys are too. So yeah, just keep that in mind, that Microsoft, they seem to keep trying. I like how they switched the spots with Sony though. If you look at early on, I think that Sony had all those they had all that stuff, man. They had all the the indies and stuff like that. But so anyway, according to this article, so they look like they're gonna have a better year. Obviously, Phil Spencer said that they're gonna have some really good games next year, launching them out. And now this was at the Game Awards and stuff, which he also said, "Hey, we can do better," which I thought was kind of funny. You know what I mean? Like, hey, there's Phil Spencer saying, "Hey, we could do better" or whatever. Especially since so many people just assume that they're okay with everything going on right now. It was nice to see that not everything was like that. So and I do think that they will get better. They have to. They absolutely have to get better. And I'm excited to see what they have to offer. In Advent Rising, huh? Did you guys see that? So you guys know who that Chloe Brill is, right? That guy from Twitter who's an insider, I guess. And he talks about he was the one that broke some of the studios and stuff like that Microsoft was buying. He said that Microsoft is deep in development on a beloved Xbox exclusive that we played this generation, and that we were going to get it probably by 2020. And so you have a lot of people sort of guessing what this is. If you were to ask me, I have no idea. I would love to know what it is. I have no idea what it is. So, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like, it could be Sunset Overdrive for all we know, right? Imagine if it was that. I think that would be pretty damn awesome. And I think a lot of people would be excited about that. So hopefully we can see something soon, though, because when fans deserve it. Like, I think you guys deserve this stuff. You know what I mean? A sequel to 2014. Yes, he said within the last 4 years. So if you look at that, Sunset was definitely in there. Rise was before that, so I don't think it's going to be Rise. So I don't know. He does say Xbox IP, but what could that be? I mean, I guess it could be Quantum Break. It could be. I hope it's not Recore. I definitely hope it's not Recore. I'm not a I'm not a big Recore fan. I'm just not looking. Am I looking forward to Anthem? I think it looks great. I just I don't know if it's going to be my thing. I'm not sure. New Dead Rising. Unfortunately, that studio closed down. I'm not sure where that leaves that, to be honest with you. No, it's a sequel, and we never got Scalebound. Remember, Phil the Axeman Spencer came out there and canceled that crap. He's like, nobody wants this, and canceled it. So, unfortunately, we'll never. That doesn't look like we'll ever get to see that. Anyone miss Alan Wake? Dude, I loved Alan Wake. You know what I did? Instead of buying Red Dead Redemption 1, I bought Alan Wake because those came out at exactly the same day in 2010. And to me, Alan Wake was so much better game. You know what I mean? I thought it was fantastic. I love it. Anything else? I love answering the chat too, man. I haven't done one of these in a few weeks. Yeah, Phil the Axeman, dude. Trust me, dude. I got jokes, man. If you can't laugh at yourself and laugh at Xbox once in a while, then I don't know what to say. They've done some stupid things. Alan Wake 2, I don't know. What I heard, Mojo, and just take this with a grain of salt, I heard Phil Spencer's not an Alan Wake fan. So I'm not sure if that's the case or not. I would love a new Killer Instinct, man. I have no problem with Killer Instinct coming. I think that would be pretty awesome. Hey, hit that like button. No, Scalebound is shelved, apparently. So, let's Thomas Dubeck says, or Dubois, excuse me if I don't pronounce your last name correctly. He says, crap, you made me buy an X, been following you for 2 years. Now I have the Scorpio edition. That's awesome, man. Immortal says, I bought Red Dead Redemption 2 back then. I had the same choice. I bought Red Dead. Dude, the thing was, everybody was a Red Dead fan. You know what I mean? I went outside the box, man. Let's see. Uh, Crap. Do you think Xbox will host Call of Duty in 2019? I think it's still PlayStation. Remedy still owns Microsoft. Well, okay, so Remedy owns Alan Wake, but Microsoft owns Quantum Break. So I do think that that's, we do got that kind of lucky for us, I guess, right? Um, OG Max says, "Hey, crap, love you. You're the reason I have an Xbox. Screw PS4." Yeah, no, I mean it's all good, man. Let's see. Who's better, PlayStation or PlayStation? Hey, that's a toughie. How about up to date new Ninja Turtles game with 4-player co-op? Didn't they come out with one? I think who was that? Platinum Games came out with one not too long ago. So yeah, that's kind of interesting, you know. Um, Go Bears. Let's see. Yes, MNC. If you guys didn't know, MNC with the new logos and everything going live tomorrow. We're gonna be doing that on Mooch's channel. It's gonna be a really good show. What's your take on the Fable project? I think Fable is going to be rebooted. And I think that Playground Games, in fact, I know Playground Games is working on that, and I'm very excited to see sort of what they have up their sleeves for that. So, I'm very excited. Like Fable is one of my favorite franchises. Fable 2 still is like one of my all-time favorite RPGs. So I am extremely pumped by that. You know what I mean? I am extremely pumped to see what they bring to the table. Yes, MNC, we're going to do a top 10 tomorrow. We're going to be doing introducing the new our new producer. Things aren't all in place yet, but we do have some stuff there to where we're going to try and I don't expect everything to work with it. Hey, you know what's wrong with Far Cry? It's Far Cry. That is true, man. That's just say that's my problem with a lot of things, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? BGST isn't the same anymore. The old crew was better. Seems like BGST is a priority like it once was. The problem with here's the thing, right? So I have a commitment in December's uh, that happen to take place Sunday evenings and Monday evenings, right? I don't want to get into all that because it's personal, but so anybody that has watched BGST over the past couple of years knows that I've always missed of a handful of BGST between November and December. It's happened. Now, as far as not the same, it is hard. Like, here's the thing. When BGST was started, there wasn't a podcast everywhere like there is now. You know what I mean? Now there's just podcasts everywhere. Everywhere. Um, you know, I just I think that it's hard. It's sort of like The Simpsons, right? I'm a big Simpsons fan, and everybody goes, "Well, The Simpsons aren't any good anymore." It's hasn't been good since season 10 or whatever. And my thing I always say is, I think The Simpsons is still good. It's just you've already covered everything that you possibly can cover, and when you cover it for so many years, you know what I mean. And then there's other shows, then Family Guy, and then South Park, and things like that. So with BGST, that's I'll always be doing that, as long as it's a thing. Now obviously it's taking a little break right now because I have prior commitments, and I don't think if me or Zaire can't make it, it's not exactly BGST, you know what I mean? So it does take a little bit of a hit, man. I do. I get what you're saying, man, because when it was like me, Mooch, Z, Showstopper, Worrywart, like that was some crazy stuff. You know what I mean? That was like this crazy, crazy group of people. and it was just such a fantastic thing. You know what I mean? It's hard to really capture that. It's like lightning in a bottle. You know what I mean? And I think that it's something that Microsoft, uh, um, it's something that Microsoft could really, it could pay off big for them. If they wanted to, if they actually wanted to do that. I not just Microsoft, but BGST. I mean, BGST. It was such a thing. Like there was. Just looking back, it was crazy though, and the whole reason I started Xbox Nation, right? If you guys didn't know, wasn't to compete with BGST. It was to have something that was a little less hardcore, a little less in your face, man. Because if you go back and listen to those early BGST guys, right? It was just like everybody was like in your face, F you, F this, right? Like, and that just became such like a tedious thing, right? And so, as for me personally, I just liked, I liked that, but I wanted something a little bit less hardcore, less in your face, and kind of less like that. You know what I mean? So that's why I started doing, um, you know, uh, started doing Xbox Nation. So yeah, that's sort of that, and hopefully, we can kind of recapture it. And I know, like Zaire's a good character, whether people like him or dislike him or whatever. I've known the guy for a long time. We're friends. We talk a lot. He he's an entertainer, man. Like I always tell people that. He's an entertainer, and he has fun with all this stuff. So don't take it so seriously. You know what I mean? There's no Discord there or anything like that. Um, just all having some fun. Game Pass $1 for 1 month is a steal. I have Game Pass the perfect time with all my new games coming this month. Yeah, I agree. Old school BGST was so fun, man. I telling you, I had such a good time with that. I can still remember, man, going in on about DX12 and stuff, right? Like, just realistically, just so much. Like I remember the DX12 debacle. That stuff was hilarious. What is that Night Out? Crap, I want to know what your favorite Xbox exclusive is. I have, there's multiple ones. I like, I'm partial to Gears 4, but I also like, Halo. I like Halo. I like Forza Horizon 4 is incredible. I'm a Killer Instinct fan. I like it all. You know what I mean? So. The only game that I don't like, or that I think is kind of that's like exclusive or console exclusive is Recore. I like that game at first and has potential, but the way they did that game just is not for me, right? Where you had to go search for the cores and stuff like that. I just thought that was not fun. Just going searching for core. Oh, you need more cores to get in there. Like that was just a bad design choice. Ori is a good game too. What do you think if Crystal Dynamics makes another Tomb Raider game in a few years? Well, they didn't make this last one, and I thought this last one was really good as well. So I think that it can be fine. I just think that it's going to take, it's going to take, it's going to take some time. Like they have to do a more classic type thing, because I thought they ended that trilogy very, very well. I just feel like it's a situation where they have to be able to expand on that, right? And there were some slow parts in the new game, but I think that it was still a good game overall. It didn't get the credit it deserved, and apparently it didn't sell very well either. So yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. Hopefully they continue on with that series, because I love that series, man. That series overtook Uncharted for me in terms of fun and like the action adventure genre. I absolutely loved it, man. I thought it was fantastic. So hopefully we continue to see that. But if you guys are just joining me, man, Phil Spencer said, hey, he wants to bring Game Pass to everything, right? He wants to bring Game Pass to everything. That must mean it's going to go to PS4, right? No, it's not going to PS4. Come on. You know what? Does Fallout 76 really suck? I don't know. Um, you know, I haven't played it yet. I have it, but I have not had a chance to play it yet. Um, I've been kind of busy with some other stuff and just having some fun, man. I started back up Assassin's Creed Odyssey, having a real good time with that. Um, yeah, just having a real good time. Just overall, just kind of having a blast playing that. After I beat Red Dead 2, it was a little bit hard to kind of focus on some stuff. You know what I mean? Because Red Dead 2 was just so amazing. Hey, hit that like button, man. Let's see if we can't get to 150, huh? Let's get out there to 150. But Microsoft should buy Crystal Dynamics and Square since they lost a lot of money recently. Well, Rock Dog, listen, man. I'm saying that Z isn't a bad dude and that he's an entertainer. That's all I'm saying, right? Like I'm not. There's no problem there. There's nothing like that. I like BGST. You know, I wouldn't take any of this stuff so seriously. So anyway, the Order 1886 was also aborted. It didn't even hit PlayStation Plus. Well, it was a showpiece, right? That was the first game that I got from my PlayStation 4 when I did finally get one, because just like Rise, I wanted that showpiece that really showcases what the graphical capabilities are on those games. So, and it does look great. It does look great, but at the same time, both those games were incredibly short, and the narrative in Rise I really liked, but the story and stuff was more boring in the Order, where there was some chapters that were just talking and you couldn't even do anything. So yeah, I just Curtis, I have an Xbox, a PlayStation, and a Switch. I actually just got gifted Smash Brothers. Yeah, I like all this stuff. You know what I mean? Rich of Cucumber says Video Game Awards should be called PlayStation Awards. Well, here's the thing, man. Jeff is definitely a PlayStation guy, right? He prefers PlayStation, and that's just all it is to it. But he did go and do a good job and get, a lot of these, he had Reggie up there and Sean Layden, and like, to his credit, he did try to get that whole thing to where it's like, hey, it's us. It's we're all gamers here, like I get that. And I completely understand that and think that that's kind of cool what they try to do there. I just, at the same time, wait, Happy Wars is gone. I played that game back in the day, man. That was actually a pretty fun game. I thought that was pretty cool. Let's see. What do we got here? Are you happy about God of War getting Game of the Year? You know what? Like, here's the thing. A lot of people were giving me shit over that. I gave God of War a 10 out of 10 and called it the best game of this year. I think maybe even the generation. But obviously, that was before Red Dead came out. So for me, I thought Red Dead 2 was the better game. But I'm actually not upset at all that God of War won. I think it was awesome. And it was cool to see an underdog. And I feel like that studio needed that more than like I said, more than Rockstar, right? I feel like they definitely needed that, definitely more than Rockstar. So, yeah, props to them for going out there and kind of getting that taken care of, because they did a good job, man. And hopefully, if there's a competitive bone in Phil Spencer's body, if there's a competitive bone in Microsoft's body collectively, yeah, man, I got a big old beard. That's like, I'm yeah. So if there is a collective bone in the Microsoft body or Phil's body or anything like that, they need to take that as a challenge to make their own games that good. So absolutely. The Gruntmaster, any interest in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3? I love Marvel Ultimate Alliance, my friend. I think actually, this is one of the things that pissed me off, right? Why is this game exclusive to the Nintendo Switch? It's made by Team Ninja, right? Wow, Team Ninja, that's incredible. I think that is, I want to play it on Xbox. Like I'll probably get it on Switch, but the thing that I love about the Ultimate Alliance games are playing with your friends. You play online and stuff. And I just think that Switch has such a funky online that it makes it not fun. And the voice chat and stuff like that, it's not great. So I do wish that, that game was on Xbox. I do not understand how it's not on Xbox, to be honest with you, because, um, at the end of the day, we all just kind of want to see uh, these games be successful. And I feel like to skip Xbox, just like, Spider-Man, like, wouldn't Xbox dudes like to have played Spider-Man? Like, it wasn't my favorite game, but I'm sure like millions of people would have loved to play that on Xbox, right? And Sony managed to lock that up. How the hell did Nintendo get the Ultimate Alliance games? And if you guys follow me, I've just played I just played the those games on the Xbox One, the part 1 and part 2 of Ultimate Alliance, the remasters, right? I like those games. I think they're amazing. I think they're awesome games. And to sort of see those kind of take a dive like that, it bums me out. It really does. I would have loved to see see Microsoft sort of step in there and do something. If it's true that basically, if it's basically true that Microsoft could just go out there and support, go out there and flash some cash and go, hey, can we get you guys to let us use this IP? Because that's what Nintendo supposedly did. Nintendo goes to Marvel and goes, oh, you guys aren't using this IP. Can we pay to develop a game for the Switch? And they're like, sure. Why the hell can't Microsoft do that, right? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. And that is something that frustrates me as an Xbox fan to no end. You know what I mean? I just, as they're Microsoft, Christ, you know what I mean? What's up, Salty? Hopefully you guys are all doing good. Please hit that like button. I really do appreciate it. So yeah, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, I am super excited about that. I hope that, I hope that Microsoft can lock down something in the future, you know what I mean? Like that, because I think that would be really cool. I do think that, that what we're going to see in the future from them is going to be something cool. And I do think that, we might see, we got to see something from them eventually, right? Like, they've been promising us stuff for such a long time, and we have yet to see it. I feel like we should see it any time now. You know what I mean? So I am excited to see what they bring out in the future. But I would love to see, Marvel is such a hot topic right now. Why not get, open the wallet and get something like, Captain America, Thor, whatever. You know what I mean? Just get something for the fans. I think they'd be perfect. Maybe go DC, right? DC would probably be cheaper. Get a company, see what's not being made. Aquaman's popular. I think there was an Aquaman game back in the day, right? But yeah, just like, it doesn't make sense to me. And yeah, God of War, definitely well worth, definitely won it. And I'm happy, like, I'm not upset about that. I'm not triggered or, upset. I thought it was, well, it should have won, like either that or Red Dead 2 was going to win. And one of the two did win. So that's really cool. They should have showed something already, maybe Ninja Theory's game. Well, we've heard that Ninja Theory's game is going to come out next year. So, or not come out next year, but be shown next year. So I think if Microsoft shows one or two projects that are close, why not? Look, here's the thing. They showed Halo Infinite at E3 2018, and that game is more than 18 months away. So I don't understand, why they refuse to show some of this other stuff. I get, because, Halo's a staple, so it'll definitely be made and it'll definitely come out. But man, give Xbox fans a little something, but then again, to the Xbox fans and to even some of those people that are doing, certain things in terms of, like what Microsoft allows and things like that. I think you got to get out there and kind of be proactive if you're Microsoft and give people stuff to get excited about. So Xbox should get a Thor game or a new Captain America game. Why not? Now follow me with this, guys. Why not do a Thor game, but let Team Ninja or like Space Off Team Ninja, because they've got multiple teams there, Why not let Team Ninja do a hack and slash Thor game, right? And then, obviously they're working on other stuff too, but they have enough to do multiple people. So why not let Team Ninja do a hack and slash Thor game? They did Hellblade. They did, they did DMC. Like, why not let them do something like that? I think that would be incredible. And they have the talent to do it. You could even hire more people for it. So I think that would be awesome. It just seems to me like Microsoft misses out on a lot of these games that other people, that these other companies are just able to kind of pick up and make and not have a big problem with it. So, it is weird, but hopefully we can see Microsoft sort of pick up some of these things and do a good job with it. I'm excited to see what happens, man. I got to be honest. I'm very excited to see where Microsoft takes us in the future. What's going to happen? Hell if I know. I think that it's going to be interesting to see what happens, but they do got to be proactive and maybe go out there and get something for the fans. And I'm excited to see that happen in the future. So, whether they got to go get a Thor game or a Captain America game or something, right? Maybe they've got Obsidian now, right? Maybe they can get some kind of Star Wars game. There's some kind of they've worked together with that before. I think they could definitely work that out and kind of get something going there. You know what I mean? I think something would be very nice. I would love to see that, and I think that they should do that, and hopefully they can continue to do that as well. So I would love to see it, and I know you guys would too. So Ninja Theory's game next year supposedly is going to be showed off. So that Captain America game was really good on 360. Well, I wouldn't say really good. I would say for a superhero license game, it was good. But yeah, I would have loved to see them do that. When I look at what Obsidian did with that Outer World game, I just think, man, they could be doing that exclusively for Xbox. You know what I mean? Like that game, so many people are excited by it, and then it kind of unfortunately turns into a bit of a joke because Microsoft. Here's the interesting thing. Obsidian owns that IP. So what happens if that game goes on to sell incredibly well, right? Like that's going to be something that that's going to be funny to see what happens in the future. If that game sells very well, is the next one exclusive? Is there some kind of contract there where they have to make, if they're going to make another one, it has to be multiplat again? Like, I'm very interesting to see how that all works out. I think it's going to be funny to see, and hopefully, it all comes to kind of a head where we get to see how that happens. Because I know Xbox fans deserve games and like exclusives, console exclusives, whatever. Like you guys, I want to see everybody get happy and be excited about this stuff. Honestly, I do. Like that. I don't want to see everybody bummed out and, oh man, Xbox sucks. It has no games. Like, forget the trolls, right? Forget the trolls. I just want to see you guys be happy. Honestly, that's what I want to see. I want to see you guys happy. I think you guys all deserve it. I think gamers in general, man, I see everybody getting what they want, whether it be the Switch, they're happy. They get Smash Brothers, they get Mario, they get Mario Kart, they get Zelda. You look at PlayStation, man, they're happy. They get their Last of Us and their Death Stranding, their God of War, their Spider-Man. And then you look at Xbox dudes and it's like, we don't even get our Halo on time anymore, So I can see a little bit of the and I understand a little bit of the discord there, and I agree with it. You know what I mean? I'm not an Xbox hater. I'm not anything like that. I'm just being honest. I can see why people would be a little bit upset. So yeah, I am excited to see what they bring. Yeah, that's basically what I wanted to say there. Let's see what else we got. Outer Worlds could become the next big franchise. I agree. It looks so good. Even if they have exclusives, no exclusive Xbox 2 will sell since they are so afraid to underpower stuff. Here's the thing, right? And I did a video on this, but who knows? Probably nobody watched. Microsoft is subsidizing their next hardware through their cloud stuff, right? So that stuff is going to pay for their extremely powerful hardware, right? They don't care. Like, they're just going to be able to make the best hardware they can make, even if it's $500. and they don't even have to worry about eating that because they're assuming that people are going to be into the whole cloud situation, and people is going to be, don't worry, Foxy, make sure you got on that pretty little Christmas hat, girl. There's going to be plenty of money to be made from their cloud ventures and Azure and things like that, that's going to pay for the powerful hardware and stuff like that. So I think that's where they're going to be sort of focusing and things like that. So hit that like button very close to 150. I would really appreciate it. I know, it's just impromptu thing. I do appreciate you guys coming out and saying what's up and things like that. Yeah, I'm excited for what they're doing. I think the fact that they're subsidizing the powerful console, the powerful hardware through other means that they're not going to be afraid to take a risk with more expensive hardware. And I think they will have more expensive hardware than Sony, and I think they will have better hardware than Sony. So I'm excited to see what happens, man. Overall, I am. Excuse me real quick. Had to take a drink. I get a little bit parched. One of the worst things about doing a podcast by yourself, aside from being ever alone, is you got to talk and talk and talk. And so when you take a drink of something, you have that dead air for a second. And I always strive not to have that dead air. So there's always going to be something kind of going on or kind of to talk about and things like that. But I do think that Phil would love to have, Game Pass on PC. Look, why is Netflix so successful, people? Because you can watch Netflix on a PC, on a TV, on a DVD player, on a Blu-ray player, on game consoles, on any kind of phone, literally any device, right? That's how it makes money. If you restricted Netflix to only PlayStation 4, what's that going to do? You're not going to make nearly as much. So, but at the same time, they also have to pay attention to the fact that, when you have a console to sell, you have to sell people content. And that's exactly what they need to do. You know what I mean? And I think that is something that they're actually going to have to figure out along the way. And I gotta say, I think they will. I think they're going to learn that lesson. Phil hinted about the hardware, and Sony can't respond. I think Sony's going to have 4K 60 hardware, like 4K. They're going to be able to do 4K 60. I think they're going to have slightly less powerful hardware than Microsoft for sure. But I still think that, Microsoft is going to have incredibly good hardware as well. Probably a little bit better. Let's see. Anything else? We got some. I love answering the chat and stuff from you guys, man. You guys are definitely on the ball today. I appreciate that. Let's see. We don't care about that one Overwatch thing. I just got Game Pass yesterday, and there's so many games I don't know where to start. You can't do 4K 60 for $500 at low settings. Well, here's the thing, Mark. You could do 4K 60. If you look at Devil May Cry 5, right? That is 4K 60 on the Xbox One X, man. That's 4K 60 for $500, probably on higher than low settings. So I really do. Yeah, hit that like. I would love 200 likes, man. I think that would be awesome. I think, Demon Orb. Yeah, here's the thing. Microsoft and Sony are going to be powered by the same hardware, but they're both custom. Right. So if you look at what's in the Xbox One X, the Scorpio engine or whatever, that's semi-custom that they've actually helped out with and stuff like that. So I think that what they're going to be offering could be slightly better. It really just kind of depends. I'm excited to see what happens. Foxy says start with Gears 4 and Forza Horizon 4. Absolutely. Although I have to say, right, everybody knows I'm not huge. Hey, Apex, what's up, bro? Hit the like button, man. Can someone please talk about the camera is going to be in the PS5 that won't be a double standard? Sir X-Man, now you know that Sony invented putting a camera in their console, and it's going to be the next best thing since sliced bread that they can do that, right? Whereas Microsoft, them being able to have a camera in there, they wanted to spy on you completely, right? So you got to remember that, dude. Just because Sony does something, I don't know, man. Look, this avatar is like what I would love to look like, man. I've still got about 100 pounds to go. I would no lie. It's a work in progress, man. It's a work in progress. Do you think they advertised 4K 60 next gen and they were kind of pushing it already this gen? Well, I don't, depends on if they do forward compatibility or not. Depends on if they do that. I think that we're already doing 4K 60 on some stuff, 4K 30 on some stuff. Sometimes we do 1080p 60. So I think that it's going to be interesting to see how they actually kind of work that out. Oh, I can do it, Foxy. Yeah, I need some inspiration. Hey, help me work off some of this, Foxy. I can think of a few ideas we can do. Anyway, yeah. So, I think that it depends on what they want to do with the Xbox One X and the Scarlet. Do they want to do 60? I just think that it's going to be an interesting situation where you Foxy. I think it's going to be an interesting situation to see how they approach it, is what I'm trying to say, with the next gen. And I do work out, guy. So yeah. Oh, Foxy, you're not going anywhere. Come on. So yeah, I do think it depends on what they want out of it. So I would love to see them be able to accomplish 4K 60 on as much as they possibly can. And at the end of the day, hey, we might be surprised by what they are able to kind of pull off for the fans and stuff. So I think that's going to be awesome. And I got to say, as an Xbox fan, super excited to see what they do. I hope that they continue to kind of lead the way or whatever. Talk about VR. If I talk about VR, Foxy really will leave. Oh, I slid into Foxy's DMs a long time ago. Are you kidding me? Come on. VR. I think VR is cool, but I don't think VR is something that that Microsoft is on board with for some reason. I'm not sure why. Although I love VR on PS4, but I do think that we gotta look. Foxy's like, oh my god, in a good way. Foxy, nothing bad. I like VR. I think that what Microsoft is doing with VR is they're saving it more. They're using it more for the Windows stuff, but but like I like what Sony's doing with VR too. So if Sony goes VR next gen and Microsoft doesn't, I'll have to get a PS5. Like that'll basically that'll basically sort of cement what I'll have to get a PlayStation 5 at launch or whatever. So that stuff's all very much in my mind. You know what I mean? I do think that what Microsoft is going to be able to do is sit there and kind of compete with Sony in the VR space. I don't think that they care about VR enough. I think from what I understand, anything that's not like a system seller, like big thing, they kind of canceled or whatever. So, I mean, we'll have to see how it goes. I'm excited to see what happens, but I think everybody else is just as excited, and we're going to see what next gen offers. I think it has to offer something, right? It does. I mean, Sony, 2 million VRs is still a lot. That's the VR leader, right? If you think about it. So, it could be 3 million. Hey, even better, like still 3 million out of 85 million. That's, 82 million people without it. So I do think that you guys probably know of the new member of MNC, but I don't know if you guys, like, he's not super well known, but he does do YouTube and stuff like that. Hey man, I try to talk to the fans, you know what I mean? I'm trying to switch up them things. Hopefully you guys can stick with me. Like I said earlier, if you guys missed it, I'm going to cut back a little bit on some of the content. I've been doing so much stuff for so many years now. Sometimes it just overwhelm me a little bit where I can't do some other stuff that I want to do. And I always worry about letting down people. And so I like being entertaining and goofy, and it's a good outlet for me to kind of express myself. So for me, cutting back on a little bit of stuff, I think that's going to be, not forever, just just a little bit. It's the end of the year anyway. You know, I think I've never even taken a break from this stuff. You know, like the only time I've missed time on doing YouTube is when I didn't have any power for like 8 days during the hurricane last year. So, you know, I am honest, Ryzen, dude. Here's the thing. I prefer Xbox. People have a problem with that. I play PlayStation as well, and I play the Switch. But Xbox for me is just I prefer it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's basically it. I don't really do what I consider anti-Sony videos. I kind of even the odds, and some of it's just kind of jokingly. You know, TLR9 says, crap, I remember about 3 years ago when you did a fan appreciation video, the names, a bunch of fans that tuned in. That was cool. Absolutely. Absolutely. You always talking to the fans, man. Hey, you know what? It's not that I listen to the wrong fans. It's like, I got to pay attention a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like for myself and, like everybody can get burnt out. I think like just the fact that my job and then this as well, the amount of videos that I do, it takes a long time. You know, it does. So. Hey, I never compared Sea of Thieves. I think I said at one point that I thought more people would play Sea of Thieves than God of War. And, you know, who knows? I do think Sea of Thieves is a good game. It's not for everybody. You know, you need a crew. You need people to have fun with and to play with. You know, but I still think it's a good game. And my favorite multiplayer game, you know, so. Yeah, hey, you know what? Yeah, I'm just a goofy guy, man. I'm a goofy bastard, just kind of a clown, man. Just have a good time with it, you know, just kind of myself. So, you know, I have a good time with it, and it's all in good fun, honestly, man. I honestly would not wish ill or any kind of on anybody. You know, I just out here having fun, doing my own thing, having a good time. So hopefully you guys enjoy and hit that like button and stuff. I know I don't want to step on a lot of people's toes because I know that XBot is going to be streaming here very shortly. With the PS5 and Xbox Scarlet coming out, Microsoft going to let you use your older controllers with the system. PlayStation always changes their controller, so you can't use the previous. Yes, you won't. You probably will 100% need the PlayStation 5 controller. My hope is that they totally redesign that thing, right? So that it lasts longer than a few hours, you know, like that's a hampering thing for me. I only have one PS4 controller, and having to plug it in and stuff like that is a pain in the ass. Let's see. Crap. Hey, Death Mobile, man, appreciate it, dude. I really do. So, your least favorite thing about Sea of Thieves is the lack of ships. Hey, man, I wish more ships, more stuff like that. My first console was the NES. I did play an Atari 2600, but the NES was the first one that I owned. You know, I love the NES. Like Mario 3 is still like one of my favorite games of all time. So, you know, I'm thrilled by that. You know, I still the first thing I did with my 3DS was buy Mario 3. You know, I get that game no matter how many times it comes out. You know what I mean? So, you know, I'm looking forward to just gaming and having a good time. It's the end of the year, sort of the wrapping stuff up. You know, just kind of having a good time and stuff like that. So, absolutely, man. Well, Atari was super basic. You had to use your imagination with it too, kind of. So, kind of interesting. Anyway, like I said, man, XBot and that next podcast is about to go live. You guys can check it out. Tell them I sent you. If you guys want to share this, hit that like button, all that stuff. I would really appreciate that as well. I might do these once a week or something if it goes over well and you guys like it. Let me know. I will talk to you guys later. Have a great night and rack them up, man. Peace out. Game on, all that good stuff. Later.